Boot Camp Automator.
Workout views.
Workout routine, 20-minute total body circuit, workout A. Alternate between 50 seconds of work and 10 seconds of rest for each exercise in the following 5 exercise circuit. Exercise number 1 is the 4-point back pillar variation. Exercise number 2 is the mountain climber push-up variation. Exercise number 3 is the double lunge variation, reverse plus forward lunge. Exercise number 4 is the SLDL plus row variation. And exercise number 5 is the front pillar to push-up transfer variation. Starting with your hands underneath your shoulders and your legs bent at 90 degrees, push through your heels and use your glutes to raise your hips as high as you can to maintain a straight line from your head through your knees and hold for time. Now with your hands underneath your shoulders and your toes pulled back to your shins to relax your calves and hamstrings, use your glutes to raise your hips as high as you can, ideally maintaining a straight line from your head through your heels, and hold for time. In the third and final back pillar variation, you'll perform the exact same movement except now your legs are straight with your forearms resting on the floor. Again, use your glutes to raise your hips as high as you can to maintain a straight line from your head through your heels and hold for time. The level 1 mountain climber push-up variation is simply a push-up hold. Assume a push-up position with the hands and shoulders aligned, tight glutes, tight abs, and maintain a straight line from your head through your heels, and hold for time. Placing your feet on a pair of valve slides or slide boards, assume a push-up position with a straight line from your head through your heels and a slight natural arc in your lower back. We will slide one knee into the chest while maintaining that slight natural arc in that lower back, and then alternate legs and repeat for time. It's imperative to make sure there's no lumbar flexion whatsoever as we maintain that slight natural arc in that lower back throughout the movement and really tight core position. In the third and final mountain climber push-up variation, we will simply add a push-up after each mountain climber. Again, the goal is to maintain a slight natural arc in the lower back throughout the movement. During the push-up, tight abs, tight elbows, tight glutes, lead the chest to the floor. Repeat for time, and intensify the movement further by adding speed of movement on the actual push-up. The double lunge progression in the sagittal plane begins in a static environment with a split squat. Start with your front leg way out in front of the body so that the knee is slightly behind the ankle, and then slowly drop the hips through the heel until the back knee grazes the floor, and then explode up and repeat for time. The key is to stay tall up top and keep the weight in the front heel. And you're going to do the same leg for the entire set, switching legs from set to set and matching the reps on each side from set to set. We now progress from a static to a dynamic sagittal lunge variation with reverse lunge, where we step one leg back and drop the hips as low as we can until ideally the back knee grazes the floor, and then explosively push through the heel to return to the start position. The key is to stay tall up top and make sure the front knee and ankle stay aligned with all the weight on the front heel. You'll do the same leg for the entire set, switching legs from set to set and being sure to match reps on each side from set to set. The third and final progression is an integration where we add a reverse lunge and then immediately move into the forward lunge while the same foot stays on the floor the whole time. Again, staying tall up top is the key and making sure all the weight is on the heel of the front leg, and we repeat for time, only switching support legs from set to set. Again, trying to match reps on each side from set to set. Again, make sure only one foot remains in contact with the floor throughout the entire work set, and then switch legs from set to set from there. Stay tall up top, load that front heel. Assume a two-leg SLDL position with weights in both hands, chest out, shoulders down and back, slight bends in the knees. Push your hips back as far as you can until ideally your chest is parallel to the floor with a slight natural arc in your lower back, and then perform a bent over row with a slight external rotation at the top of the movement, really focusing on pulling the shoulders down and back. Return to the starting position and repeat for time, again focusing on maintaining a slight natural arc in the back throughout the movement. Now we progress from a two-leg to a one-leg SLDL plus two-arm row. Again, you start in the exact same position except only on one leg. Slight bend in the knee. Push the hips back as far as you can while keeping the chest out and shoulders down and back. At the bottom of that SLDL, perform a bent over row with an external rotation. At the top, shoulders down and back, really squeezing it out. And then return to the starting position and repeat for time. You perform all reps on the same leg for each work set, switching legs from set to set, and trying to match reps on each side to keep the balance in check. Again, maintain a slight natural arc in your lower back throughout the movement. The third and final variation is a stability progression where we now only hold weight in one arm, the opposite side hand of the support leg. Assume the one leg SLDL position with the weight in the opposite hand, and the same side hand behind the small of your lower back to facilitate an internal rotator stretch of the shoulder. From there, perform a one leg SLDL and a bent over row at the bottom of the movement, focusing on pulling the shoulder down and back and externally rotating the hand to the top of the row, and then return to the starting position and repeat for time. Because only one side is loaded, it creates an instability that activates your glute in all three planes of motion. It's critical to first master a static hold before you move to a dynamic variation. Start in a front pillar position on the forearms, tight abs, tight glutes, maintain a straight line from your head through your heels and hold for time. Moving from a static to a dynamic variation, assume a push-up position, and from there we are going to lead one forearm to the floor and then follow with the other forearm until we assume a front pillar position, and then immediately walk back up with the same side hand into a push-up position, and then repeat the same process on the other side. The key is to keep your glutes tight, abs engaged, and make sure there is no rotation of your pelvis whatsoever throughout the movement. Shoulders and hips should stay square throughout. The third and final variation is an integration progression. You will perform a push-up every time you are in the push-up position during the front pillar to push-up transfer. For the push-up, focus on leaning your chest to the floor with tight abs, tight elbows, tight glutes. Again, just like the regular front pillar to push-up transfer, the goal is to keep the shoulders and hips square by really squeezing the glutes to prevent any pelvic rotation. You can intensify this movement further by adding speed of movement to both the push-up and the transfer.
Workout music.